Some say that Wrenn 6 is the best Oathbreaker deck in the format. Let's find out in today's video. Playing with Power MTG. Powerful cards, powerful formats. Before we get into tonight's game, I wanted to ask a question. Do you have extra cards lying around that you don't use? Want to buy or trade for some extra cards but don't know how to maximize the value? Then you should try out today's sponsor, Card Conduit. Card Conduit is the best service when it comes to selling your extra cards. They have three main services. Their standard service lets you send them your unsorted cards of any value. They will sort, grade, and give you the best price for your cards. Their curated service is similar. Send them your unsorted cards worth over $1 in value. They will charge half the fee of the standard service and charge no fee per card. Their sorted service is a great value as well. Choose cards in advance with their selection tool, send them sorted to Card Conduit, and they will grade and buy list them automatically. Save yourself the time of having to send to multiple sites and let Card Conduit do it instead. Their fee is only 2% with no fee per card. So give Card Conduit a try today. If you sign up with my link in the description below or use the promo code POWER, you will also get 10% off of their fees when you use their service. A big thanks to Card Conduit for sponsoring today's video. Tonight we are back playing some Oathbreaker. This format is a lot of fun and we highly recommend you check it out. So let's start out by showcasing our fighters this evening. First, we have Corey piloting Narset, Parter of Veils with Days Undoing as the signature spell. This is a control deck that seeks to win by stripping its opponent's hands with both of the spells in the command zone. Corey's opening hand contains a Scalding Tarn, Ancient Tomb, Mana Drain, Otawara Soaring City, Hull Breacher, Seagate Restoration, and a Mystical Tutor. Next, we have Ryan piloting Wrenn 6 with Crop Rotation as the signature spell. This deck seeks to assemble a Strip Mine Lock or Dark Depths combo. Ryan's opening hand contains a Mox Diamond, Sylvan Library, Exploration, Wasteland, Strip Mine, Wooded Foothills, and a Stomping Ground. After that we have John piloting Tyvar Jubilant Brawler with Reanimate as the signature spell. This deck seeks to ramp out big creatures and win by turning them sideways. John's opening hand contains the Great Henge, Chrome Mox, Windswept Heath, Swamp, Animate Dead, Triumph of the Hordes, and a Demonic Tutor. Finally, we have Brandon piloting Nissa, who shakes the world with Finale of Devastation as the signature spell. This deck seeks to ramp up to Nissa quickly and double its mana to cast Finale of Devastations multiple times and assemble a creature combo. His opening hand contains 4 snow-covered forests, Rafellos Llanowar Emissary, Llanowar Elves, and a Finehorn Elves. Without further ado, let's quit quarreling with this quintessential quadruplet. Corey had the most completed college credits and gets to start us off. Corey draws a card for turn and plays a Scalding Tarn. He passes. Ryan draws and plays a Wooded Foothills. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up a Taiga onto the battlefield. He casts Exploration. He casts Mox Diamond, discarding Wasteland. He plays a Stomping Ground as his Exploration land for turn, into play untapped, paying 2 life. He casts Sylvan Library. He ships the turn. John draws and plays a Windswept Heath. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up a Bayou onto the battlefield. He casts Chrome Mox and printing Triumph of the Hordes. He casts Demonic Tutor, fetching up a card into his hand. He ends his turn. Brandon draws and plays a Snow-Covered Forest. He casts Burgeoning. He passes. At the end of Brandon's turn, Corey cracks the Scalding Tarn, pays a life, and fetches up an island onto the battlefield. He casts Mystical Tutor, fetching up Force of Will onto the top of his library. The turn moves to Corey. Corey draws and plays a Seagate Reborn, into play untapped, paying 3 life. Burgeoning triggers, and Brandon puts a Snow-Covered Forest into play. Corey ships the turn. During his draw step, Ryan draws 2 extras through Sylvan Library, paying 4 life to keep 1 extra. He plays a Strip Mine as his land for turn. Burgeoning triggers, and Brandon puts a Snow-Covered Forest into play. Ryan cracks his Strip Mine to destroy Brandon's Snow-Covered Forest. Ryan casts his Oathbreaker, Wrenn 6. He activates Wrenn 6's first ability, returning Strip Mine from his graveyard to his hand. He plays Strip Mine as his Exploration land for turn. Burgeoning triggers, and Brandon puts a Snow-Covered Forest into play. Ryan cracks his Strip Mine, targeting Brandon's Snow-Covered Forest. Brandon sighs, and the land is destroyed. Ryan casts a Cura Tribe Scout and ends his turn. John draws and plays a Swamp. He casts Entomb, fetching up Tyrannix Rex into his graveyard. He casts Animate Dead. In response, Corey casts Mana Drain, countering Animate Dead. John passes to Brandon. Brandon draws and plays a Snow-Covered Forest. He casts Rafellos Llanowar Emissary. He casts Finehorn Elves. He ships the turn. Corey draws, and in his first main phase he adds 2 colorless through Mana Drain. He casts his Oathbreaker, Narset, Parter of Veils. He activates Narset, looking at the top 4, putting Mystic Remora into his hand. He plays Otawara Soaring City as his land for turn. He casts Mystic Remora. Corey passes. During his draw step, Ryan declines to draw extra from Sylvan Library due to Narset. He plays a Forest for turn. He casts Orcish Lumberjack. He activates Wrenn 6's second ability, targeting Rafellos, killing it. Ryan passes the turn. John draws and plays a Bloodstained Mire. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up an Overgrown Tomb onto the battlefield untapped, paying 2 life. He casts his Oathbreaker, Tyvar Jubilant Brawler. Mystic Remora triggers, and Corey draws. John activates Tyvar's second ability, milling 3 and returning Dothy Voidwalker from his graveyard to the battlefield. He casts his signature spell, Reanimate, targeting Tyrannix Rex. Remora triggers and Corey draws again. In response, Corey casts Force of Will, paying a life and exiling a blue card, countering Reanimate, with Force of Will going into exile with a Void counter. John ships the turn. Brandon draws and plays Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. He casts his Oathbreaker, Nissa, who shakes the world. Remora triggers and Corey draws. Brandon activates Nissa's first ability, putting 3+1/+1 counters onto his snow-covered forest, animating it. He moves to combat and attacks Narset with his land. Narset dies, and Brandon passes. During his upkeep, Corey pays to keep his Remora. He draws and plays an Ancient Tomb. He taps it to help cast Sapphire Medallion. He casts Aether Spellbomb. Corey passes. At the end of Corey's turn, Ryan activates Secura Tribe Scout, putting Dryad Arbor onto the battlefield. Still during the end step, Ryan casts his signature spell, Crop Rotation, sacrificing Dryad Arbor as an additional cost. Remora triggers and Corey draws. Then Ryan fetches up a Thespian Stage onto the battlefield. The turn moves to Ryan. During his draw step, Ryan draws 2 extra through Sylvan Library, paying 4 life to keep 1 extra. He activates Wrenn 6's first ability, targeting Wasteland in his graveyard, returning it to his hand. He plays a Wasteland for turn. He cracks it, destroying Brandon's Nykthos. Ryan ships the turn to John. John draws and plays a Polluted Delta. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up a swamp onto the battlefield. He casts his signature spell, Reanimate, targeting Tyrannix Rex. Remora triggers and Corey draws. Tyrannix Rex enters the battlefield and John loses 7 life. After the table figures out how big and how many keywords Rex has, John moves to combat. He attacks Ryan with Tyrannix Rex. Ryan takes 8 and gets 4 poison counters. In his second main phase, John activates Tyvar's first ability to untap Rex. He casts the Great Hinge and Corey draws through Remora. John passes the turn. Brandon draws and plays a snow-covered forest. He casts his signature spell, Finale of Devastation, where X equals 1, and then Corey draws through Remora. In response, Corey casts Brainstorm, drawing 3 and putting 2 back on top. Still in response, John sacrifices Dothy Voidwalker to cast Force of Will, targeting Finale of Devastation. Remora triggers and Corey draws again. Finale is countered and Brandon activates Nissa's first ability, targeting a snow-covered forest. He casts Llanowar Elves. He moves to combat and attacks Ryan with the 2 lands and Finehorn Elves. In response, Ryan casts Crop Rotation, sacrificing a land as an additional cost. Corey draws through Remora, and then Ryan fetches up a Glacial Chasm onto the battlefield. Chasm enters and Ryan sacrifices Windswept Heath. All damage is prevented, and Brandon ends his turn. During Corey's upkeep, he lets his Remora die. He draws and pays 2 life to cast Gitaxian Probe, targeting John. He looks at John's hand and draws a card. He plays an Urza Saga, getting its first counter. He casts Rhystic Study. He passes, discarding to hand size. During Ryan's upkeep, he sacrifices Glacial Chasm. During his draw step, he draws 2 extra through Sylvan Library, putting 2 back on top. In his main phase, he activates Wrenn 6's first ability, returning Glacial Chasm from his graveyard to his hand. He plays Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, as his land for turn. Ryan gives the turn to John. John draws and taps the Great Hinge, adding 2 green and gaining 2 life to cast Arcane Signet, paying for Rhystic Study. He activates Tyvar's second ability, killing Tyvar, milling 3, and returning Dothy Voidwalker to the battlefield. The Great Hinge triggers and John draws and puts a 1/1 counter onto Voidwalker. He plays a Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, as his land for turn. The table jokes that now all lands are super forests due to 2 Yavamayas, and John casts his Oathbreaker, Tyvar, Jubilant Brawler, paying for Rhystic. In response, Corey hard casts Fierce Guardianship, countering Tyvar. John moves to combat and attacks Corey with Rex. Corey takes it and gets 4 poison counters. John ends his turn. Brandon draws and plays a snow-covered forest. He moves to combat, attacking Corey with both forests. Corey takes it all and dies. In his second main phase, Brandon casts Finale of Devastation, where X equals 5. He fetches up an Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, onto the battlefield. Brandon passes. At the end of Brandon's turn, Ryan activates Secure Tribe Scout, putting Dark Depths onto the battlefield. It enters with 10 ice counters. Still in the end step, Ryan activates Thespian Stage, targeting Dark Depths. Thespian Stage becomes a copy of Dark Depths, and Ryan sacrifices the original. The copy now has no ice counters on it, so it triggers and Ryan sacrifices it, creating a 2020 flying indestructible Merit Lodge. Dark Depths and Thespian Stage are exiled under Dothy Voidwalker, and Brandon ships the turn to Ryan, who proclaims, "Yes, I am now the problem." During Ryan's draw step, he skips his Sylvan Library trigger. He moves to combat and attacks Brandon with Merit Lodge. Brandon takes it all and dies. Ryan activates Wrenn 6's first ability to return Strip Mine from his graveyard to his hand. He plays a Strip Mine as his land for turn. He passes. John draws and casts Delighted Halfling. The Great Hinge triggers and John draws a card and puts a 1/1 counter onto Halfling. He casts Green Sun Zenith, where X equals 6. In response, Ryan casts Tybalt's Trickery. Zenith is countered, John mills 2, and then exiles until he reveals Assassin's Trophy. He casts Assassin's Trophy, targeting Wrenn 6. Wrenn is destroyed, and Ryan fetches up a mountain onto the battlefield. John moves to combat and attacks Ryan with Rex. In response, Ryan activates Scout to put Glacial Chasm onto the battlefield. Chasm enters, and Ryan sacrifices a mountain. Ryan takes no damage, and John ends the turn. During his upkeep, Ryan sacrifices Glacial Chasm. During his draw step, he draws 2 extra through Sylvan Library, putting 2 back on top. He moves to combat and attacks John with Merit Lodge. John declares no blocks, dies, and Ryan wins the game. Ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic game. Congrats to Ryan on his win. He showed that playing lands with powerful abilities is a strong plan in just about any format. Normally, the Dark Depths combo isn't able to do much in a 4-player format, but in Oathbreaker, with everyone at lower life totals, this strategy becomes much more viable. The most valuable card in tonight's game, sponsored by Luxury Playstyle, goes to Glacial Chasm. It's a niche card that has value primarily because of the synergy with Wrenn and 6. Being able to play it over and over gave Ryan the time he needed to find a win with Merit Lodge. We hope you enjoyed this Oathbreaker game. What did you like most? What would you like to see next? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.